Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Ed Foley. I'm interviewing John Inglese for the Board of Education seat on the Democratic ticket. Good evening.
How you doing?
Good. John, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and why you want to be on the board?
Okay. My name's John Inglese. I live on Morris Road up in the 3rd District with my wife and 2 children. I'm a product of the East Haven school system. I've lived here for 42 years. Both my children, they both go to East Haven Public Schools. I'd like to be on the board because I'd like to help the children of East Haven, get the same chance that I had. I'd like to see them get a good education. As for myself, I'm employed right now. I'm a member of the Hamden Police Department. I've been there for the last 18 years. I'm a detective there, and I'm assigned to the crime scene unit. Prior to that, my experience with schools is, prior to being a detective where I am now, I was the juvenile detective. So I've dealt with the school system. I've investigated crimes against children. I had a good working relationship with principals and the superintendent. And prior to that, I was a community police officer where I've given safety talks to children in all the schools, seniors, just basically anybody that wanted to listen to me talk, I've spoken to. And I was also a school resource officer. So I have a lot of interaction with schools and the faculty there.
All right. I know Marilyn and I do the show every month, and one of the things I've been talking about has been class sizes. And you have any thoughts on that?
Well, my feeling is class sizes, I don't want to be too large. I'd like to do a study to find out exactly how many teachers we have in the town, how many students we have going to the schools. I wouldn't want the class sizes to be so large that would overburden the teachers. But then again, you don't want the class sizes too small either, right? If they're too large, it's going to be tougher for the teachers to teach. And too small, I just think that it wouldn't be helpful.
Yeah, we've got we had quite a to-do over the summer with the administration wanting to sell the building, the old high school, which I have a certain interest in, being as I live across the street from it. And the academy is over there, as everybody knows.
Mm-hmm.
And there was quite a fight. Do you have any idea, any feelings on what you think you want to do with that building?
Well, I think the academy is a great school. One of my children attends the academy, and he absolutely loves it. Children I've talked to, they all seem to like the school. And instead of selling the school, I think they should put money into revamping it, making it the unused space, making it usable. I know when they test for the academy, there are a lot of children that are put on waiting lists. If they can get more room in that school, possibly more children will be able to get in.
Right. I know there's been talk about moving the school. I've heard rumors. People have come up and asked me. It's like, I've heard it's going to move over to Carbone. Do you think they should move? You think it should pretty much stay there? I mean,
well, the problem is that I feel is if you're going to move the school, just say you were going to move the academy to Carbone, where would you move the children from Carbone? Are you going to put them into another school, which is going to overload classes? I would like to see it stay right where it is. If they can just, fix it up a little. One of the problems was I've been by there recently. A lot of open windows there, and with the winter seasons coming, heating costs.
Yeah.
It's going to cost a lot to heat that building. But I would like to see it stay there.
Yeah. Yeah, I drive by there every day, and for the longest time there was windows all broken out, and you're right about the heating costs. The old 36 wing, I mean, that thing just sucks heat into it, and if you leave the windows open, it's certainly not gonna help.
And plus, there's a lot of room in that building.
Yeah.
I graduated there in 1983, and I know how big it is. If they can put something into the school, and make it more useful instead of just burdening the taxpayer with the heating cost, because you have to heat it. You have to heat the building up.
Right. Yeah. You can't totally shut off the school. You know, the one thing about East Haven is we actually have a lot of school buildings. We have 11 school buildings in town. And some people say, oh, we should close some of them. We should consolidate. You know, do you have any thoughts on that?
Well, you know, like I said prior, before closing schools, I'd like to see how many children are in each school and in each class. And I'd hate to close a school and double the size of the classrooms, because I mean, I think that's just going to hurt the education system.
Right. This summer, I guess it was late August, July timeframe, both the CAPT and the CMT scores were released by the state, and East Haven scores were kind of a mixed bag. Some of the early grade scores were really bad. High school scores weren't that great. Some of the other scores were, 5th, 6th grade. We're actually up some. And it's always a big topic of conversation. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Well, if you've seen the scores, a good number of them are low. There has to be a reason why the scores are low. I'd like to make sure that the teachers are getting the proper resources that they need, whether it be books, paper, the visual aids, anything that's going to help them in their job. I'd like to see, I know a lot of the money that goes to the school system, a lot of it is spent on administration. I'd like to see, if possible, more of the money going towards the buildings, whether it be building maintenance, and like I said, to the teachers, which is going to help the children more. That's to me, that'll help raising. The more you could put into the school system, the more the scores are going to come up. I mean, the surrounding towns, some of the grades are higher than ours. That's not saying that the children are any better off than ours are. I just think that, maybe if there's something with the teachers and they need, like I said, more resources, it would help the children more.
Yeah, yeah. The one thing that kind of comes up every now and then, and it should be coming up again probably during this term of the upcoming Board of Education, is we rent over on Dodge Avenue a building for the Pathways program and I believe the Adult Education program. We pay, I think during the life of the lease is like $10 million. I think we're paying like $30,000, $40,000 a month for that building. That's going to come up. I think. What do you think about
Well, that's a lot of money to put on the taxpayers.
Yeah.
If there was room in another school or another town building that we had, I wouldn't have a problem moving it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one of the things that they actually moved, I think it was the Pathways program, out of the 74 wing of the old high school into this lease building, which just drives me a little crazy.
Well, to me, it could be, you have the space, now you're paying rent.
Yeah.
I mean, and who's paying it? The taxpayers are paying it.
Right, right. And again, more overhead that we probably don't need. The one other thing that comes up every now and then is the use of some of the school buildings. Like we've got like one school building that we use for nothing but Overbrook. We have the Yellow Jackets program over there, and I think we just need to use some of the buildings better than we do. But I think you probably want to take a look at that.
Oh, without a doubt. Like I said, I'd like to have a study done on all the schools. What room is left in the schools? I'd hate to just close a school just to say we don't need it, because to me that's not the answer. The Little Jackets program over at Overbrook, that's essential for a lot of families there, and I don't think it should be compromised.
All right. Well, let me just ask you one last question that I do before we have to wrap up. What do you think of the mayor's race?
It's going to be a tight one.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I think, you know, now it's time. I believe it's time for change. It might be time for change all over. People have been in a long time, and I think East Haven needs a change.
Okay. Well, thank you, John. With me tonight has been John Inglese, the BOE candidate from the Democratic Party. And don't forget to come out and vote on November 6th. And have a good night, everyone. Thank you.
Good night.